"2020 was a difficult year for everyone. With Christmas approaching and with coronavirus restrictions slightly eased, the Brunel Museum and Spectrum Drama started a new project called Christmas Past. What was Christmas like for the Brunel family and for other people living in and around Rotherhithe?
Good day. Sir Mark Brunel at your service. For those of you unfamiliar with my work, I am an engineer. You may know me as the creator of the Thames Tunnel, right here, under the Thames at Rotherhithe. Well, Rotherhithe is certainly very different. I remember seeing and hearing children playing around here the whole time. It didn't worry me. I like children. I always have a few halfpennies in my pockets to give them. And I spent a lot of time with my own children, of course. Sophia, Emma and Isambard, they were taught at home when they were small. You know, I remember all this was open ground and quite soft. And that made it very suitable for me to sink a great circular shaft down 50 feet into the ground so that we could then begin to build my tunnel straight out over to Wapping, the first tunnel under a river anywhere in the world. Of course, there are some landmarks I do recognize, as St. Mary's Church, and of course the tavern opposite, although I remember that being called the Spread Eagle. And I gather Christmas has changed somewhat over the years. You know, when I think back to when I was a young man, there was very little by way of celebration. Most people just treated it as a normal day. Indeed, my son Isambard very often worked on Christmas Day. Most people tended to make more of a fuss of New Year's Eve. Indeed, on one particular occasion, Isambard and his friends had dinner in the tunnel, right beneath the Thames.
Isambard Brunel and his sister Sophia paid a visit to Albion's school to talk to the children of Navy class about Christmas.
So some of the things that we did at Christmas were very much what you do yourselves here in England. Some things were a bit different because in France things are different. Now, for instance, on Christmas Eve, you might put something out for presents to be put into. What would you put out? A stocking. So the tradition is to put a stocking out and it's full of presents. Would your presents fit into a stocking?
No.
No, I thought not. No, probably not. Well, a big stocking. Let's imagine an enormous stocking. We don't do that in France. We don't do that. We put out a boot. A boot. A sabot. And you put that by the fire, and Father Christmas, Père Noël, puts them inside there, and you get a boot full of stuff instead. Similar, isn't it? Stocking, boot.
But what was Christmas like for other people when they were younger? Navy class came up with excellent questions to put to older people here in Rotherhithe.
What was your Christmas like as a child?
I was evacuated from the age of 4 to 8, so the Christmases then were very poor.
It was the thing you look forward to, all the, like, you know, because it's the thing that was happening, you know.
We had our own priest there, and to me, I wish he'd been my grandfather, old Father Essex. He knows I know him, even now. He's been gone for many years. But he used to try and make it fun, because obviously we all went to church on that day, and he used to try and make it fun, because that's what it should be.
It may surprise you to learn that money was not always plentiful in our house. In fact, I remember one particular Christmas after attending church at Bridewell, coming home to a rather Spartan Christmas dinner.
I remember when I was little, my mum and my dad, when he was alive, doing the turkey on Christmas Eve, getting it all prepared, and then sticking it in the oven Christmas Eve night on a low heat. So it was slow cook. and then waking up Christmas morning and the smell of the turkey in the oven.
So, how and when did things change at Christmas? Well, I'd say the year 1843 was quite the year for Christmas new. You may have read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. He wrote several short seasonal stories, but that is the one that became best known, and that is the year it was published. Of course, I knew his father.
Also in 1843, Henry Cole, a friend of Prince Albert's, commissioned John Calcott Horsley, Isambard's brother-in-law, to design a special card for Christmas. At 1 shilling each, not everyone could afford to start sending them straight away, but many children, Queen Victoria's included, made their own Christmas cards.
The Illustrated London News published a drawing showing the royal family celebrating round a decorated Christmas tree. That's a tradition reminiscent of Prince Albert's childhood in Germany.
We were living in a block of flats. We were the only English people there. The rest were Germans. And we got to know their neighbours as they had kids the same age. And their Christmas was very different. It was very much more organic. They had lots of pine and fir trees, holly, ivy, mistletoe. They didn't have tinsel and coloured paper and shiny stuff. It was all very much more natural, and the whole place would smell of fresh pine. They had a Christmas tree, but it was decorated with natural things like fir cones painted silver and stuff, and little beeswax candles that clipped on with these little metal clips.
Now I wonder if you know what you would adorn the Christmas tree with. Oh, hands up, yeah.
Christmas lights.
Candles?
Yes.
Yes, there were candles upon the tree. Yes.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yes, what could possibly
On the ceiling, so we had this huge tree, and the boys used to get up. I don't know where they found the matches from, but they would get up when it was quite dark and late and light all the candles on the tree, and they nearly set fire to the whole place.
With balloons and sometimes cotton wool. Just these two items, because we did not have tinsel at the time. When I was younger, we all had to go to church for the Mass, and that was Christmas. We did not have presents, no people came around.
We asked Navy class to make Christmas decorations, which included snowflakes and baubles. Every child wrote a positive word or message on their bauble to the Rotherhithe community.
I remember, you know, like the Christmas tree that got in Trafalgar Square. I can remember that first ever coming over, because that was something to do with the war, and every year they send one. The only thing I've always been upset about it is they don't, I go and see it every year, they don't put coloured lights on it. They're only white lights.
Right, yeah.
And we expect colour today, don't we? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Decorating the home for Christmas suddenly became a far more elaborate affair. Castle's Family Magazine had these words of advice for the lady of the house.
To bring about a general feeling of enjoyment, much depends on the surroundings. It is worthwhile to bestow some little trouble on the decoration of the rooms.
Christmas became increasingly centered on the family. We loved parlor games. I loved amusing the children with all kinds of entertainments, and Isambard famously once managed to swallow a coin while performing a magic trick for his children. And therein lies a tale. And of course, in 1843, my tunnel was finally opened, just 18 years after we started it.
The concept of giving presents for Christmas was something that became far more common during the Victorian period.
The best Christmas present I can remember I got a new blue dress because there was 5 kids. Not a lot. Nothing, no big presents. Didn't get big. You know, the presents we got were not very big. Just everyday things, you know.
What type of Christmas presents did you get?
No, there weren't no real presents. Like I can remember during the war we used to go over to my nan's and stay there over Christmas, like because my dad would be in the army, wasn't he? You know, and it would be the sock with the orange in the bottom, and if you were lucky, that was it. And there'd be a few paper hats or something to make it a bit of tinsel to make it like Christmas. But as presents went, not really. There weren't no presents.
We were looked after, my group, by 2 Irish nuns who were delightful. They were wonderful, and they used to give us little socks to put all our things in. And these 2 nuns used to look at what everyone in their group, all the children, what their favourite things were, and that's what they got them. And they didn't have a lot of money or anything, but they made sure that the children had at least one thing that they really would love.
She was my Christmas present when I was 8 years old, so that was 1964. And I loved her lots, and she lost a finger. You didn't get super glue back then, so we tried to put something down there and put a finger on, and that didn't work.
What was your favourite Christmas present?
But I got this toboggan and I loved it, and I traipsed up and down pretending that I was Scott of the Antarctic, up and down our garden with this place behind me. The thing is that I loved it so much that as the seasons passed, we came to high summer, I still dressed as if I was in the Antarctic, and I still traipsed up and down the garden with this toboggan, which everyone said was very sweet.
An electric train set, and it was a German one called Marklin, and they were the very best at the time. And my brother and I got given a lot, so we ended up having a massive train set on our balcony.
Eating roast turkey at Christmas had its beginnings during my time. Up to then it was normally beef or maybe a goose for dinner. And speaking of meat, mince pies used to be made with minced meat. Now I gather they are some sort of a sweet treat. Oh, you like bonbons, sweets? Well, during the 1840s, an English sweet maker called Thomas Smith went to Paris, and there he saw little bonbons, sugared almonds, being sold in little twists of paper, and that gave him the idea of the Christmas cracker.
Another local resident, Millie, told us about her childhood Christmases in the Philippines.
The 24th of December, everybody's busy. Everybody's decorating their houses with crepe paper. But we don't have any Christmas light because there's not much electricity. We get the bamboo leaves, banana leaves. We mix up this sticky rice and wrap it up like that and make a parcel. And we cook this sticky rice with the wrap with banana leaves, all like that. And every household do the same thing.
You know, we used to have a 12th night cake for the day when the official festivities ended, and we would take a little dried pea and we'd bake it into the cake, and whoever got it in their portion, they were king or queen for the day. Oh, and carol singing. Do you know, we used to sing the old words, but to new tunes, and if the church didn't like it, people went into the inns and taverns and sang them there.
What was the first Christmas song you've ever heard?
Would like Away in a Manger, but probably the one that would remember that come more to your mind would say be like Bing Crosby, White Christmas, but that's been around forever and like since about the 40s.
I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas by Bing Crosby. I gather, and it's still the case, it was the most popular song ever recorded.
Away in a manger.
Yeah.
That one.
That's right.
You don't want me to go through it, do you?
So, let us hope for better times to come and plenty more Christmas stories. Méchante?